This is the Plagmanrules Podcast. Everybody, we're back again with another episode, and today we've got a couple of topics to talk about, one of which is a pretty serious one, and the other one is going to be a lot of predictions, a lot of estimations, a lot of guesses, and so we're going to start with the big circumstances, everything that's happening with T.J. Miller, that son of a bitch. And then we're also going to get into my final predictions for what's going to happen in Avengers Infinity War. Just predictions, by the way. I'm just like everybody else. I don't get any early access or anything to this stuff. So I'm just going to go through and say what I think happens to each character, what I think the storylines are kind of be, and maybe I'll have an idea of what happens at the end, or at least a guesstimation for how the ending of this movie is going to go down, since we do know that Avengers 4 is going to be released close to a year after Avengers 3. Okay, so let's just dive right in here. T.J. Miller. Okay. Now, a couple episodes ago, I brought up the fact that Deadpool 2 has been facing kind of an uphill battle, at least in the production standpoint, whether that's having stunt women pass away while on set or director problems, and now with kind of some other shifting going on with the Fox Marvel properties, it looks like Deadpool 2 was safe to go, but the only thing otherwise that I saw as a problem was the fact that T.J. Miller's involvement was there, especially after everything that had happened in January with a lot of the accusations and a lot of stuff going on there. But now it's gone to a whole new level. Now, this is just plain shocking to me that something like this could still happen in our society. So what happens is, for those, I'm sure everybody who's watching this now knows, but in case you're not aware, here's basically how I understand what happened. So T.J. Miller's riding on the subway one day. I guess this would have been, I don't know if it was earlier this week or over the weekend, whatever it was, but he's riding in the subway in New York, just getting around to his place, whatever is going on. And turns out he'd been doing a little drinking beforehand, and when he's on the subway there, he bumps into a woman. Now, I've heard two ideas here. Either he bumped into a woman and wanted to get after her a little bit, or something like that, or a woman stared him down. Either way, he was the one that really engaged it, and he got into an argument with this woman, and the woman complained about it, got a conductor or whatever the official term is. I'm not a New Yorker, so I don't know the whole lingo there. But basically what happened was the conductor or whoever was in charge there got him off on a stop here or whatever. He walks home, all sultry, all kind of upset. And what does he do as soon as he gets back to his home? He calls a bomb threat and describes the woman, says, "Hey, this X and X person is carrying a bomb on a subway train." Now, I mean, do I even have to say it? You don't do that. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care what the fuck you think you're doing or what fucking other plane of existence you think you live on. That is not cool. Not cool. I mean, especially when you look at where this happened. This is in a subway station in New York City. If there's one place in the world, well, multiple places, sure, but one place in particular that has had a big trouble with this in the past, where serious situations have sprung up from other incidents, maybe not exactly like this, but definitely other incidents that have happened, it's New York City. You don't want something like this to happen. I mean, the panic and just the widespread terror that can happen because of something like that, it's ridiculous. Now, luckily, they got him tracked down and they arrested him, and now he's facing up to 5 years in prison for it. But, and from my standpoint, this guy has screwed up, I mean, way too many times. Whether that's all the stuff that happened with the Uber driver last year, which it was a news thing for like a minute, and then everybody forgot about it, or this past January when a few females came forward and accused him of not only sexual assault, but also physical assault. Both of which are, disastrous for his career to begin with. And as I kind of mentioned last time, I've never really been a big fan of this guy to begin with, but for me, this is 3 strikes and you're out. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would want to work with this guy again. So now Fox is left with the decision here, because Deadpool 2 is now a little over a month away. It's about 5 weeks or so approximately from today. So what that means is Fox is left with 2 choices here. Number one, they either keep him in the movie, because he's, and we don't know how extensively involved he is in the film. From the trailer, it looks like he'll have a few scenes here and there, but he's not going to be one of the top 3 or 4 main characters in the movie. We could be wrong. maybe we go in and he actually has a really big part. But they're either going to have to keep him in and just bite the bullet and say, okay, we're sorry, that this jackass is in our film, but we hired him months ago. He was in the first film. Here he is, and they're going to leave it at that. Or two, they somehow or other gut his character, cut him out of the movie, or do the Kevin Spacey, Christopher Plummer thing, where they come in with somebody and say, hey, do you want to read some lines? You want to do so? Okay, here we go. We got 2 weeks. Because that's basically about the time they're going to have. Because they want to get this thing done as soon as possible. Because not only is it coming out the 18th, but if you're Fox, you really want to get this movie done as soon as possible so you can get those early screenings in, get the fan buzz, anticipation, get all of that up to where everybody's looking forward to the movie. And I know a lot of people are really looking forward to the movie. There was some kind of some rumored bad test screenings that happened, but I've never believed anything like that. But either way, Fox is kind of, they're up against the wall on this one. So, but if it were just to put in my 2 cents here, if it were me, and right now I don't know the situation of how involved he is in the film. But let's take my example. He's only in 3 or 4 scenes. They're just kind of background stuff. I'd say just cut him out of the movie. Cut him out of the movie because number one, it's gonna hit the movie either way if he's in it or not. And especially if he's in it, we could see like protests happen at the theater, picket stuff. That kind of stuff could happen here. And personally for me, if that's Fox's decision, if it's too late and he's too heavily involved in the film, that's one idea. But if he's a small part, could easily be cut out, and they keep him anyways, then I kind of get the idea. Yeah, I agree with the notion of picketing the film, kind of protesting it, saying why would you keep him in, especially if it's going to be a small part. But if it's not a small part, you kind of that's the way your bed's made. You're going to have to lie in it. But right now, again, just from what I'm seeing here from the trailers and few TV spots we have, it doesn't look like he has a big crucial role. So if that were the case, I personally would cut him out of the movie if I could. But it's, obviously that's going to be up to Fox here. And they've got, they don't have long to think about this either, especially since it does come out on the 18th of May. And since it is going to follow up Infinity War, they need this thing to do well. Now, in the meantime here, I guess all I can say is I hope that on the prosecution level, unless there's some special circumstance, there's something that we don't know that, in this incident to where TJ Miller maybe is not the devil that he looks like he is right now. If something like that happens, then, I'm always, on the side of the legal system that says innocent before proven guilty. But everything I'm seeing, it looks like this guy is going to be guilty. But as far as that goes, I'm kind of it's tough. I mean, it's really, really a terrible thing to say that you're rooting for somebody to get a prison sentence. But in this case, this guy has just been doing too many wrong things and has really not been called on the carpet for it yet. So if justice prevails in this case and he is actually guilty of all this stuff, which everything I'm seeing looks like he is, then okay, to hell with him. Put him in prison for a few years or do what you have to do. Either that or totally bankrupt the guy, make him have to, settle a case, settle the case, whatever it has to be, where he is spending all of his millions on this stuff, whatever the crime is, make the punishment, worthy of the crime. So in this case, this is something too. We can't take this lightly. With the whole false bomb threats, we cannot take that lightly. This guy needs to get called on the carpet for it. I think he will. But that's just my 2 cents on all that. Okay, so now that is out of the way, we're going to move on now to my predictions for Avengers Infinity War. Now, we're talking about a few of the story predictions, because we don't know the full story yet. A few of the predictions for who's going to make it out, who's going to die, who could possibly die, so on and so forth. So we're just going to have fun with this and just really go down the cast list and really say, whether they're dead meat or if they're likely to come back in Avengers 4 and further Marvel films. Okay, so let's actually start, before we get to the whole rundown of the cast and everybody, let's take a look at how I think the film's going to shape out. Well, it looks like, and for those of you, by the way, there might be some spoilers for some previous Marvel films, because I know not everybody in my personal life has seen the third Thor movie yet, and they're really looking forward to seeing it. So I will talk about how that film ends. I'll talk about a little bit how Guardians of the Galaxy 2 ended, a little bit of Black Panther spoilers, maybe. And I think otherwise, I think everybody has seen Civil War by now. Everybody's seen Spider-Man Homecoming and a few of the other ones that are more recent. So on that front, let's go ahead and get some predictions out there. Well, I think the opening of the movie is going to be with Thor and Valkyrie and Loki. I believe those are the three characters they've confirmed are in the film. But as we saw also in there was Hulk is there. We've got what's his name, the Taika Waititi character. He was really funny. So it looks like all those guys are on a giant ship from Sakaar on their way to Earth, and taking a slow boat to Earth, if you will. So it looks like, as we saw in a post-credit scene in Thor 3, that they're going to be attacked by Thanos' ship. Now, we do see, it appears to be in the trailers, Loki walking over a few dead bodies on his way to get the Tesseract, which it looks like he stole from the end of Thor Ragnarok there, and presenting it to Thanos. So it looks like Thanos and his Black Order, which are those, kind of henchmen guys you see in the trailer, it looks like they board the ship. They pretty much kill everybody. I mean, well, it looks like they kill a lot of people. There's also Idris Elba is going to be in the film too, probably just for one or two scenes. He's probably going out too, by the way. But we'll get to that in a minute here. So it looks like a lot of the Asgardian, what's left of them at least, it looks like a lot of them are going to perish at the hands of Thanos and the Black Order there. But it looks like what's going to happen is Thor is going to get separated from that bunch. Hulk is going to be separated. Somehow he gets back on Earth, as we see. He crashes into the whatever the place they call. I think it's like Bleecker Street or wherever Doctor Strange is. It looks like he gets tied in with that. And then Thor, as we see in the trailers, ends up alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy on board their ship. So, like I said, we'll come back to the individual fates of the characters here in a minute. So it looks like what's going to happen from there is Thanos then continues. He gets to Earth. We get those wheelie, I want to say wheelie, but the rotating like death balls or whatever. That they look like they're transportation, like little what do you call them things? Where he can kind of go through and all of a sudden he's on Earth or he's on like the planet, whatever it looks like he's going to be there. So from there, obviously we know Thanos is coming to Earth because most of the Infinity Stones are there. But we also have to remember the Collector is in this movie too. So the Collector also gets involved at some point. Looks like he's going to surrender the other Infinity Stone he has, the one from the second Thor film that he keeps. He'll probably have that one. He'll have the one from the Tesseract. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I don't know the name of the stones here, so bear with me on that. I'll say the stone from blah blah blah. And hopefully you get what I mean here. But in that case, so it looks like he has two of the stones. It looks like that's what we have from the trailers too so far. And the rest of the stones, if he gets them, they're going to be revealed later on in the film. So in that case, it looks like Iron Man's going to team up with Doctor Strange and Hulk and Wong and Spider-Man, and I think that's it. And then somehow they get connected with a few of the Guardians because Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax end up with them. It looks like Thor is going to part ways with them, and he's going to keep Groot and Rocket. And it looks like they're doing something in space or on a ship or something. Whether that's fending off a different attack, or maybe they're going after the Collector or whatever is going on there. But they're separated from the rest of the group. So it looks like Thanos is going to appear first or on some alien planet or on some alien moon of some kind. And so he's going to face off against Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man and Wong and the other Guardians there, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. Looks like those 7 are going to be in one location there, and they're going to fight off Thanos, or at least try to. My guess is that they get defeated, and somehow they're trapped, or we see a scene where Doctor Strange is getting tortured. So it looks like they all get captured, and a few of them might get tortured. So they're separated. So that means everybody else, which is Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, War Machine, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, looks like they all head to Wakanda to hide Vision, because obviously he's got one of the stones in his head, and he's a big target. So I'm trying to think if there's anybody else here I'm forgetting. Mantis is also part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so she's going to be with the rest of them there. I don't know where Nebula plays into this, because I haven't seen her in way too many of the trailers yet, or if there was one with her, I missed it. It looks like Bucky Barnes and Black Panther are obviously already in Wakanda, as is Shuri and okay, for whatever reason I can't remember her name being pronounced ever, so I don't know if I'm getting that wrong or not. But also M'Baku from Black Panther is going to be there. So and they it looks like they fend off a big threat of impending Chitauri or whatever alien race that Thanos has cooked up for a big battle. I think that's going to be toward the end of the movie, and so uh, and again, our estimates put this at 156 minutes. That's a lot of film to cover. Obviously, it's a big storyline. There's a lot of characters going around. So I don't know from there if all of them team up or not. But my prediction then for the ending is going to be that the Wakanda battle is our ending. Uh, Thanos gets the stone from Vision, so now he has half of the stones because there's 6 total. So that means that the second Avengers film to follow this, and that's going to be right now it's just titled Avengers 4. That means that the rest of the stones are going to be recovered there. Now I could be wrong about that. I know a lot of people are talking about the idea that the Skrulls could get involved, and the fourth film is going to be the Kree Skrull War, which is the one of the few comic book lines I've actually read through, and that one was pretty good. I mean, it's totally different from what they're going to be able to do in the movie because of the different characters and stuff. But it looks like this is going to be just a heavy defeat for all of the Avengers. Except we'll see what Thor and Rocket and Groot are up to, or whoever else is with them there. But it looks like just those 3. So we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so now we'll go through the list of characters, and I'll kind of put out some basic predictions for what I think is going to happen to each of the characters. So really just going down the cast list from the top here, from who's top billed, they start with Robert Downey Jr., of course, as Iron Man. I think Iron Man makes it out of this one. Now, obviously, Downey has had some, well, I don't want to say trouble, but he's had some contract things come up. So I think he's going to be in this one, Avengers 4, and then he's probably going to bow out unless they renew his contract and he wants to be more of a supporting character for the next, probably the next, generation or whatever of Marvel films. I think he makes it out of this one. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, I think he's safe. Seeing his career outside of the Thor universe, he's pretty much dead on arrival when it comes to box office receipts from there. So I think he is going to continue to be Thor after this. He's probably going to do more individual Thor movies and a couple more Avengers films and so on. I think Hulk is safe. I mean, first of all, how do you even kill Hulk? I don't know. But I think he's going to make it out. Captain America, Chris Evans as Captain America, that one's going to be tough. Because, well, number one, Chris Evans has kind of said before that he's probably going to be done with the Captain America character. Whether that's going to be after this film or after Avengers 4, we don't know. But right now, I'm going to take that as truth, and I'm going to say that he makes it out of this one, but he'll probably be done as Captain America after Avengers 4. Then Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson. I don't know. I haven't seen. There's not a ton of her in the trailers. She might be one to go actually in the movie. I'm not solidly saying that. I'm just saying there's a possibility that she does get killed in action. But I'm gonna say she makes it through this one and moves on to Avengers 4. And then after that, I don't know. I mean. From there, Johansson could come back for more films. She could do an individual Black Widow film after that. We don't know. But I'm going to say that she makes it through Avengers 3 with the caveat that maybe she does die toward the end of the film. But I'm going to say she makes it through 3, and then we'll see where she goes from 4. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I think he makes it through this one. We haven't seen another Doctor Strange film scheduled yet, but you have to predict that they're going to do at least a trilogy just of Doctor Strange movies. I think he's safe. This one's kind of tough. Don Cheadle as War Machine. I don't know. I mean, there's been like 3. Okay, going back a minute, when they had the trailers for Age of Ultron, I remember saying, I'm like, oh my god, they're going to kill Rhodey. But it just turns out he was only in the trailers a little bit because he's only in the movie a little bit. And then with Civil War, most everybody was like, oh my god, they're going to kill Rhodey. So that's, two big movies in a row. Now they get to this one, it looks like he's back in ship shape after his really, I mean, obviously it would have killed him in real life, but after that big fall from Civil War, it looks like he's back in action. I think I don't know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm just gonna say he makes it through this one, and something happens to him in the beginning of the fourth film, something like that. I think he's gonna make it through this one, but I don't know. Maybe a third time's the charm, and they actually do kill him off this time. Tom Holland as Peter Parker. We already know that a second Spider-Man film is coming. Actually, it's going to be the next film after Avengers 4, so he's safe. Black Panther, no way in hell do they kill Black Panther off. I mean, he's probably the only one I would say. Him, Spider-Man, and maybe a couple others are a 0% chance that they kill him in this film. I mean, especially not after. And obviously, I know they had the storyline, everything constructed out of this film before Black Panther opened, but obviously after the box office receipts of Black Panther, that would be a total shoot yourself in the foot moment if they kill him off in this one. It's not going to happen. Paul Bettany as Vision. Now this one's interesting because the idea is, okay, so it looks like, and there's a spot in the trailer where he gets the stone taken out of his head, and the stone basically is what gives him life as Vision. At the same time, there was, because Bettany also voiced Jarvis. Now, the Jarvis program, from what I remember, was inserted into the body of Vision, and that's how Jarvis lives on. So does that mean after the body's taken care of that Jarvis just goes back to being a program, and that's how they can, do a second version of Vision from there? Or I don't know how that's going to work. Or is it once he's gone, he's gone? I don't know. But that one, that's tough because it looks like the present form of Vision, it looks like once that stone's taken out, he's done. He's dead. But does he come back as Jarvis, or is there still something left of Jarvis, or is there a thing where once they take the stone out, he's just a regular human now? Because there's also a part in the trailer where it looks like he has a more human face now, and whether that's just him playing tricks or what it is, but whatever the thing would be, but we'll see. That I just don't know which way to go on this. But just to put a final answer down, I'm going to say that he dies in this one. Technically, the Vision character as we know him right now dies after that stone gets taken out. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. I think she's safe. I get a feeling she's going to be important to this one. I think she lives. Sam Wilson, also known as the Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, probably lives. There's a lot of storylines where his character or the Bucky Barnes character takes over for Captain America once Steve Rogers retires the shield or is killed. But of course that's the comics. Doesn't mean 100% they're gonna take that into the film. Boy, I think he lives through this one, but there's a possibility he gets knocked off toward the end. Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. I think he makes it through this one. I was thinking he would actually sacrifice himself to end the Civil War in that film, but he lived through that one. And now that he's probably going to be all done with that whole Hydra thing where he's the Winter Soldier and all that, he's probably going to be a good guy all the way through in this one. But whether he has to sacrifice himself or whether he lives or not, this is one I haven't 100% made my mind up, but since we've only killed off maybe one or two so far, let's kill him off too. I think Bucky Barnes is going to be toast after this. Tom Hiddleston is Loki. This for me is an easy call. He's only in the trailer in one scene. Looks like it's only a couple shots. He's dead. Yep, I think he gets the Tesseract or whatever over to Thanos. Thanos crushes it, gets the stone, then says goodbye, shoots him or kills him or whatever happens. I think Loki's done. Idris Elba is Heimdall. No trailer, no footage, nothing. I think he's also toast. I think he's done. We don't know who Peter Dinklage is. He's got an undisclosed role in this. So I don't really have any predictions for that one. Let's just say he lives, because I don't know. Benedict Wong as Wong. I think there's a moment, of course, where Dr. Strange's going, no, yelling when he's getting tortured. I think that's Wong getting killed. So I think Wong is not going to make it. Pom Klementieff as Mantis. I think they'll keep Mantis around. I think she's going to be a big part of the next Guardians of the Galaxy film, so I am going to say she lives. Karen Gillan as Nebula, one of the daughters of Thanos. I'll say she lives. I think she has some unfinished business. Again, we haven't seen much or hardly any at all of her in the trailers, but I think she makes it through this one. Going through the rest of the Guardians here, Dave Bautista as Drax. I think he's safe. Zoe Saldana as Gamora. I don't know. I think there's a possibility that either her or either her or Nebula, maybe one of them dies in this film, whether that's by accident or if Thanos is truly an evil guy who's willing to kill his own children. I don't know. Uh, I see it as a possibility. Now, between the two, I think Gamora would probably be the one to live if they want to do that. But since I already said Nebula lives, I'll say Gamora lives in this one too. Vin Diesel is Groot. Well, we've already figured out the original Groot is pretty much dead. So this is teenage Groot now. Yeah, there's no way that they kill off teenage Groot. Bradley Cooper doing the voice of Rocket. I think he's probably gonna live through this one, and he'll come back for the next one and Guardians 3 and the rest of them there. Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. I think this is going to be the end for her. Now we saw she's in the end of Homecoming, so we know she's actually going to be back for most of the Marvel universe, or at least to this point. Looks like she's going to have something to do. But I think there's a moment where Tony is kind of sobbing in the trailer. I think that might be after he realizes either Pepper gets killed or maybe Happy Hogan. We'll get to him in a minute. Benicio del Toro as the Collector. I think he's going to give up the stone and then he's going to be gone. So he's done for. Thanos, played by Josh Brolin. I think, now, again, depends on what they do here. Now, if they go through this idea, because originally this was going to be Avengers Infinity War Part 1, and Avengers 4 was going to be Avengers Infinity War Part 2. If we're keeping that idea, I think Thanos is going to, like I said, if the ending I picked was true, that means that Thanos only has half the Infinity Stones by the end of this film, so he has to finish the job or die trying in the next film. So I think I think that means he's going to live through this one. But if they don't, if they go with the idea of, say, a Kree Skrull War or a Secret Invasion or one of those kind of storylines in the next film, probably Thanos bites it in this one. But I don't know if they would do that. I mean, especially since he's been one of the more anticipated villains of the Marvel universe, I think they'll keep him around. And Chris Pratt kind of rounds out the main cast as Star-Lord. Now, I don't know. Sometimes when they have a character, because on the posters when they go blah blah blah, and then this person, sometimes it's a more famous person or an older actor. When it's somebody like Chris Pratt who does that, maybe, and this, I mean, I could be totally wrong on this. I think there's a good chance he gets killed in this. I mean, I might be totally out in left field here. I might be the only one who thinks that, because obviously Chris Pratt is a very popular actor. For the most part, I think all the Guardians are going to make it out. But I don't know. I mean, we kind of got the end of his storyline as a celestial being from the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And, I think something like if his death triggers something in Gamora to make her want to, definitely go after her dad more, that could be a good storyline to go through. There's a part in the trailer where Star-Lord is like jumping around on stuff that Doctor Strange sets up, and at one point it looks like he falls or something, so maybe that could be his death. Could be. Especially when it's, again, in this position where it's like blah, 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 and Chris Pratt on the poster. Obviously, since his name is a little more famous than a couple of the other ones, that could be the reason why they did it. So I'm actually going to take a big gamble here. and everybody, for sure, I'm going to be the first one, but everybody else can laugh at me when I get this totally wrong later. But I'm gonna take a big chance here and say Star-Lord does not make it out of Infinity War. Okay, now for the rest of the characters, they're not listed on the poster, so we can assume they're only in the movie for a little bit, or they're really secondary characters. Okoye, played by Danny Gurira. Sorry, I haven't heard her name pronounced. I think she probably makes it. I mean, especially since they only did one Black Panther movie so far, and she did have a very small role in Civil War as well. I think she's one of the more popular characters, actually. That's not one of the big Avengers or anything. So I think she makes it. Letitia Wright as Shuri. I think she's safe. Now we don't know yet what Jeremy Renner's involvement's going to be, because he's listed in the credits and everything as Hawkeye. But no poster, no trailer footage, nothing. So, does that mean he just pops up for a second, gets killed, and that's the end? I don't think so, no. He's been described as being on a special journey in the film. Now, I don't know if that means he's, smoking weed and he's going on a special journey, or what it is. But I actually have a theory here, because another thing, we have not seen hardly any images at all, or hardly, and no poster image and no trailer image so far for Paul Rudd as Ant-Man either. Now, remember in Civil War where there was that part where Ant-Man was on, where Hawkeye launched Ant-Man before he became Giant Man and all that? Maybe Ant-Man and Hawkeye are teamed up and doing something on the side. Could be. I think that's my theory on that, is they're doing something. Now, is it going to be a major plot point? No. I think it's something that gets introduced past the halfway point. Probably closer to the beginning or maybe even the end of the third act, right before the end of the film. And I think they're doing something separate, and I think they're together. Maria Hill is also in this, played by Kobe Smulders. No idea what her involvement's going to be, especially, again, since we don't have any posters or trailer footage of her yet. Maybe that's where Hawkeye and Ant-Man are. Maybe they're trying to track down as many of the old guard as they can, and, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is obviously no more for the most part, and all that, so maybe that's what they're doing. Winston Duke as M'Baku. Looks like he's going to fight alongside everybody else. I could see him dying in this one. I think he will. Especially since, he's not a critical part of Black Panther, but he's definitely a part that, that has, moments in it. But for the most part, it looks like they could kill that character off without huge circumstances. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be a giant, subtraction from Black Panther 2 or the other sequels after that. Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie. I think already she's become a very popular character after just one film. But, it looks like a lot of the Asgardian are going to be dead after Thanos comes on that ship. So, I don't know. I'll say she lives. I'll say somehow she gets an escape pod or something. It doesn't look like she's going to get in on the rest of the Avengers action, and she's not going to be a big part of it. And she could actually be, and maybe she's just not in any of the shots they used in the trailers, but she could be with Thor and with Rocket and with Groot. That's a possibility. But I think if she were going to be with them and they're doing something separate, I think she would be featured in at least one of the trailers or something. But nothing on that. So I'm going to say she gets in an escape pod or something and she goes on to fight another day. Angela Bassett is here as the mother of Black Panther, Ramonda. Doesn't look like she's going to have much to do here. Again, nothing from the trailers or anything so far. So I think she's probably just going to be background or something. Jon Favreau is Happy Hogan. I think they're going to kill him off this time. They almost did in Iron Man 3, and then he had a really good role in Spider-Man Homecoming, but I think he's gone. Jacob Batalon is back as Ned, Spider-Man's friend. I think he lives through this one. I think that's everybody here. Now, I don't know, the Black Order, there's 3 Black Order guys that are alongside Thanos. Now, I don't know the character names at all, except one of them is listed as Ebony Maw, who I think is the one we see shushing in the trailer. No idea how many of them are going to live or how many are going to die. But, and maybe Peter Dinklage plays one of them or something. That could be, but I think we would have found that out by now. But I'm going to say of those 3, one of the henchmen gets killed off. One of the Black Order gets killed off, but I think the other ones stick around. Okay, well, that was kind of fun to go through that. So that's just some basic predictions for what I think is going to happen in Avengers Infinity War as far as the characters' fates, as far as the storyline goes. I think those are just some general ideas for what I have. But we'll, the truth, everything will be revealed here in actually just a few short weeks. The Thursday night previews actually begin 2 weeks from today, so we're going to see that. We're going to see what happens here pretty soon. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Plagmanrules Podcast, and we'll catch everybody next time. Thanks for listening.